I'm vengeance.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 111, if I'm correct, the Super Civil Servants podcast. My name is Greg, the Bat Daddy 52, and folks, we're coming to some conclusions on shows this week. We got some new stuff coming out and a whole lot of stuff to talk about. So, doing it with me this week is my homeboy Ross, the Iceman. How you doing, buddy?
I'm enjoying the fact that we are all ones. 111. Episode 111.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And apparently we also need to be a Doom Patrol therapy podcast.
Yeah. That we're gonna get into it when we talk about the show, but Doom Patrol was very, very interesting this week. I have mixed feelings about it, but I don't want to get into it right now. We'll get into Doom Patrol because it was we're getting close to the end of that. I think was this the penultimate?
Yes, we are
this week.
This was episode 8. We have 2 more. We got 10
okay,
total.
So it's getting close. I hear you.
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, before we get into the regular shows, you want to talk about some trailers and some news, and then we'll just finish it off with the regular stuff. And actually, we got a new show to talk about this week. So let's get started. Good.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. Well, let's get started with some trailers, man. I actually just watched 2 of them that I wasn't even aware of until you told me right before the show, so they're kind of fresh in my mind. Let's go with the ones that are a little less fresh, and let's start with that. Start with the Uncharted trailer. You sent this to me the other day. I didn't know anything about an Uncharted movie coming out at all, to be truly honest with you. It's not really a franchise that I follow. I've played the game a few times, but it's only because whenever I bought my PlayStation, it was like the Uncharted package and it came with the game and everything else. Okay, so I played the game for a little while. I think I traded it GameStop for something else because it was a fun game, but just wasn't my cup of tea type thing. But I could see a movie out of it, especially with the actors they have involved. What do you think just overall of this trailer?
I had heard rumors. I don't know how long ago it had been actually now. We live in this wonderful, strange world where it's almost like a before COVID and post COVID. But this completely just jumped right out of my peripheral. And when I saw that the trailer had popped up, I was actually kind of amazed because to me, it was kind of like a blend. It was a blend between like National Treasure and almost like Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Yep.
And so those two things kind of mixed together. And I was actually I like Tom Holland. I mean, he's a funny kid. And, a lot of people can talk about, rank their Spider-Mans all day, but I mean, the guy is an actor. I haven't seen the movie with, was it him and Ray played in the movie, whatever her name is, played Ray. But they played a movie that came out and it pretty much, I think it's on Hulu right now. I completely skipped it, but not on purpose. This one kind of caught me off guard, and I was like, this is like straight up National Treasure. I love the National Treasure movies, better for worse.
Yeah, no, I feel you. The story looks like it could be very interesting. It's right there. It definitely looks action-packed enough to keep me entertained. Some of the stuff's a little off the wall, but I mean, I watch superhero stuff. I can watch off-the-wall stuff all the time. I like Tobey Maguire, or not Tobey Maguire. Tom Holland I like Tobey Maguire too. I like Tom Holland as an actor. I like him as Spider-Man. I like Mark Wahlberg a lot too. There's just not really a lot of Mark Wahlberg movies that I don't like. So it's a good combination to have in a movie, I think. I think there was one part about the trailer that I had seen that I wanted to, but I didn't write any notes down when I was doing this. If we keep talking about it, I'm sure I'll remember it. That I was watching and I was like, oh yeah, the Scottish part at the end. I like a little comedy with the guys talking trash to him and guys because I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, what the hell is he saying? I enjoyed that. He does have that he adds just enough that little comedic punch in, to be able to really pull off scenes like that. So. Yeah, Spider-Man in a different role because I have not seen that movie either. The one with him and I don't know why for the life of me I can't remember the name of that. Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley.
Huh?
Daisy Ridley.
Yeah. All right about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I blinked on it for a second too. But I mean,
yeah, I couldn't even remember I was right about that. Yeah, I haven't seen
Chaos
that movie
Walking
either.
is the name of the movie.
Okay,
It came out
okay.
this year.
You know, if I get a free moment of time to watch something new, I will. I just, man, there's always, if I ever get a moment to watch something new, it's like I set aside times to watch old stuff just so I feel better. Stuff I've already seen. I know that sounds weird, but I have these comfort shows that, like, okay, I don't want to pay attention to this, but I want something in the background, you know, while I'm doing this type thing.
No, it stinks. I mean, when you have to pay attention to something, it definitely feels like you're using like if I have to use 3 of my senses, then like everything else is taxed.
Well, and, you know, honestly, that's one of the things for a show for me that I know if I'm watching it at any point in time, I don't feel like it's like homework. Like I'm watching it like, oh shit, like what the fuck happens next? It's a good show. And I had a couple of those this week, so it's gonna be fun to talk about. But yeah, the Uncharted trailer, like I said, I've never really been a big fan of the games. Not that they're bad games. When I played them, they were fun to play. It's just, you know, I'm just not that. It's just not my type of game. But I'll definitely watch the movie. I going into it not knowing anything about the characters or anything else. Like I said, I played the game before, but I think I played Uncharted 4. So by then they've already established a story and everything else, and I'm just getting this game as it came with the PlayStation. I don't know anything about it going in, so I'm interested to see some Fast and the Furious and Mission Impossible type stunts.
You're right about that too. That's definitely that airplane scene was a little crazy. Sitting there trying to jump over everything. I don't know. We've had the fan question about games that we've kind of glossed over because we were busy one week and then we turned around and unfortunately Sarah couldn't be with us last week or this week. So I'm a massive gamer, and as much as I do love seeing all the trailers for games, I don't get the time to sit around and play them, get a chance to give the thumbs a workout. So this looks entertaining because I don't know enough about it, and I have discovered about myself that that's what I enjoy about things. I want to go into it pretty blind.
Yeah, I've stopped diving so deep into stuff lately because it's just more fun to go into it with a little bit of unawareness of what's going to happen or not knowing what's going to happen. I don't think this movie is going to fall into the typical video game movie trope where most of the time movies based off video games are just generally not that good. This one looks like it's very loosely based off the video game, but I don't know anything about the game, so I can't really say that.
Yeah.
I
didn't really know a whole lot about Resident Evil. They had me for like the first couple, and then after that, I was like
19 and 20 and 21. Yeah.
Now I know every single thing that's going on with it.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, interesting trailer. February 18th is going to be the 2022 is the movie release, so that'll be a fun one. Hopefully by then theaters will be up and running again to the point where everybody feels comfortable to go to them, and that might be one that would be fun just for the action scenes to see in theaters. I don't know what I'm saying. I love seeing all movies in theaters. I just haven't had a chance to get back yet. So let's talk about Buzz Lightyear. So this one is a backstory of the actual character Buzz Lightyear, not as a toy, as the actual person Buzz Lightyear.
It seems like the story that
the toy is based off of.
I mean, I got no qualms. I liked the Toy Story movie when it first came out. We were. Yeah. I think you and I were just old enough to where we could still appreciate like every bit of it without like it seeming too crazy.
Yeah.
And so if anything, I'd say that we were probably on the upper cusp of it. And I can't say that I've probably seen the first 2. I don't know if I've seen. Are they on 4?
I think they made 4. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie in the same way. After 2, I kind of grew out of it and felt not that they were bad, just And it was kind of it was between my kids, so my kids were not born before like 3 and 4. I believe I don't know when 3 and 4 came out, but they just weren't into it when they were younger. So I never got back into the Toy Story franchise. Yeah,
they were probably right in the gap of not knowing anything and it completely passing over.
Right.
I like the first movie. I mean, the second one I didn't feel like I really needed, but I mean, shit, you look at, was it Tim Allen and Tom Hanks? And I mean, man, what do you say about those? I mean, voice, talking about like perfect voice casting.
They are perfect voice casting. And that's what's so funny is, Tim Allen's not the voice in this one.
I do.
It's Chris Evans, which
yep.
I've seen. I dove into the internet just to ask Google why that might be, and then I was just like, oh, maybe I don't want to dive into this story. Maybe I just need to accept the fact that it's Chris Evans and just not get my hands on it, because I don't know anything about it. I don't know why. Tim Allen's an older guy. Maybe he refused the role. I'm not sure. I know that Will Ferrell just refused. Yeah, exactly. Will Ferrell just refused a role for Elf 2 for $29 million. So, I mean, actors have their choices to, if they don't like the story or they're done with something to get out of it, I guess. I have no idea why Tim Allen's done it, but Chris Evans sounds like a guy that could play a younger, Buzz Lightyear. It's not really going to bother me that much either way. I'm not, super in love with his character. But yeah, I'll end up watching it. I'm sure I'll sit down and watch it with my kids. That's not something I'm going to go see in theaters. I don't have kids in the age that would, really have a good time going to see this in theaters. And this is not one that I particularly would care to go see in theaters, but it is one that I will probably watch at some point in time when it comes out.
It looks entertaining. I mean, and that's what, that's what we're about when it comes to discussing all this stuff. Entertaining. What's entertaining? Mm-hmm. So I'm entertained by any Buzz Lightyear story they want to give me that's not super corny. This does not look super corny. It looks like it has a pretty good backstory. The animation looks pristine. I mean, for CG, computer graphic, anything and everything. So, to me, it's not a question of why, but why not?
Yeah. Well, the good thing is I don't know anything about Buzz Lightyear minus the stuff that I watched in Toy Story and a little bit what I remember from Toy Story 2. So going into this, they can tell me whatever they want to tell me, and that's Buzz Lightyear to me. They're building a new character for me. It looks like a movie that if it was live action, I'd watch it, no problem. So if it's a good story, like you said, the animation's there. Let's just check it out.
They keep getting so close too. They're so. I mean, besides Buzz Lightyear's gigantic chin, I mean, he's
right. Prosthetics.
He even makes Jay Leno look bad, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they're getting so close.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to do at some point in time. They're running out of ideas before they reboot the actual Toy Story, the first Toy Story again, because that's what you do. It's not old enough yet, I think, to reboot, but I'm sure they probably will, or remake, not reboot. But all right, cool. Well, Buzz Lightyear. I don't know the exact date of this one coming out, but I'm sure we'll hear about it whenever it does, and it'll be something that we gloss over and check out and add to the schedule. So, okay, 2 trailers you told me about right before the show started that I watched was the Cowboy Bebop and the Masters of the Universe. So we'll do them in the order in which I watched them. We'll talk about the Cowboy Bebop trailer. What the fuck, man? This is crazy. Like, this is absolutely crazy what I'm about to watch. It looks like it's crazier than Doom Patrol. Or maybe harder to keep up with.
I never watched the animated show, and that's my fault. But that was when like that show fell perfectly in between like me doing like restaurant work and like staying up until all hours of the night watching like Adult Swim and all that kind of stuff, to actually like moving on to like anything else. I mean, like even military, like all given hours. So I was not privy to the Cowboy Bebop show when it was in its prime on like Adult Swim. Mm-hmm. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I think, the trailer for this. Well, it wasn't a trailer. They did the live action credit roll, and it was supposed to be like a opening credit. I guess kind of like a shot for shot of the animated version. Okay. And it was supposed to give you an idea of like what you're going to be seeing. And never heard a whole lot of stink. I mean, like even when I talked about it on the show, I was not expecting anyone to know anything about it, right, unless you're like a really hardcore fan. This trailer came out, and I was like, I'm there day one. Yeah. Do you remember? What was it? Kung Fu Hustle. Mm-hmm. It was a crazy, like, comedic, just take on a movie. And I mean, Kung Fu Hustle was not a good movie, but it was just funny. Right. I'm going to tell you right now, I felt that like right off the bat with the music, with like everything going on in it. The reoccurring joke of like him wanting to kill the girl, like, can I just kill her a little bit? Can I just shoot her like just enough to like make myself feel better? I know nothing about it, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to watch every bit of it.
Well, it makes me kind of want to go back and watch the show. You know, I'm
It
sure you
does,
can
but I
find.
don't know if I can.
Yeah, once again, that's adding more stuff to the schedule of time. Yeah, stuff to watch, but it
Yep.
makes me want to. Like I said, I'm the same way. When you showed it to me or told me to check it out and I looked at it, I was right there, like right away. I love different kind of takes on things, different kinds of ways to film things. The different camera angles they use, the way they move the cameras around. This is very like it's almost like
It's
they're
very
moving.
wide.
Yeah, they're moving through a
Yeah.
comic book page. It feels like, and they can move the frames of the comic book page, like really, and not even do they interact with them. Like I was like, that's a very, very interesting take. Like I have no idea anything about Cowboy Bebop, but I'm there to check this out because it's Netflix. Netflix doesn't usually fail me. I don't see a whole lot of bad
Yeah.
stuff on Netflix. You know,
I mean, I
so
see some pretty good mediocre stuff, but I mean, this right
yeah,
here, this does
pretty good
not look mediocre.
mediocre. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Action looks right there. I can't remember the guy's name who's the Asian
Harold.
guy who yeah,
Yeah.
Zulu.
Yeah.
um,
There you go.
um, but yeah, looks fun, man. Definitely gonna check it out. What was the date? November 19th. So it's coming up real soon. We'll cover it on the show.
It is. Does it say November
It said
19th?
November 19th. Yeah. Well, I wrote down November 19th. I could be wrong, but I don't know why I would have wrote it down if I didn't see that. So,
Well,
but you know me. So my notes
my
can be
list
running
is
together.
completely off. It's been a crazy week. So,
I hear you.
I mean, I've been trying to add things as they come, but sometimes you just can't keep up with the
Mm.
onslaught of new content coming our way.
Oh yeah, I try to keep a mental checklist, and it's just impossible. I mean, in my stuff that I know that
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching, like it's almost impossible to figure out unless I take time to set aside just to go through news, and yeah, I guess I could do that, but why? You know. But
I'm gonna
anyway,
give it the guy's name, John Cho. That's his name,
mm,
John Cho.
sounds familiar, but couldn't have guessed it. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, Cowboy Bebop, November 19th. We'll probably cover it on the show because it looked really fun. I know we're going to watch it. And I'm sure that if you and I are that excited about it, I'm sure everybody else that's in our little circle here is very excited about it as well. So it shouldn't be an issue. But let's talk about Masters of the Universe. This is the last trailer I watched literally seconds before we went live on the show. Okay. The first episodes, after I watched like episodes 1 and 2, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this show. Then I watched the last episodes, the last half of the first part we got. And I cannot fucking wait for the next half of the show because they really turned it around for me. It looks fucking awesome. And then we finally got this trailer here. I felt like the trailer was maybe too revealing of stuff happening.
Thank you.
You know,
I feel like that's a counter to the problems that everyone was giving it come out the gate.
with the first
They're
half.
like,
Yeah, I
I've
agree.
heard it
I
was a
agree.
Tila story. I'm like, that's
Mm-hmm.
cool and well. But I mean, why don't you wait for it to evolve? Why don't we all talk about it after we've seen it?
Yeah. Like I feel like they gave everything away in this trailer. And maybe they didn't. Maybe there's something hidden. And for all we know, this could be the first half of the second half, the third quarter. I don't know. But it feels like they gave a whole lot away. Like they didn't leave a lot to the imagination. And I'm still going
I
to
feel
watch
like
it.
I
And
just watched the second half in like
yeah,
that one trailer.
little snippet. Yep. We could almost break it down. This 2.5-minute trailer, break it down. I feel like you've watched the entire second part of it. And once again,
But it looks great.
it does. It looks really, really good. Even knowing going in what I feel like now, knowing what the story is or where it's going to go, and I don't feel like I have any surprises. I'm excited to see it. I want to see it happen. I want to see it play out. And once again, they could just be throwing us for a loop. I mean, it could be something totally different. They can be very deceiving with trailers. I've seen a lot of times where I see a trailer and I feel like it's giving a lot away, and it's only like the first 20 minutes of the movie, and I'm like, well, shit, I didn't know anything. And I think you're right. I think this is a counter to what happened with the first half, where everybody complained they didn't give enough away. And I feel like a lot of people gave up on it towards after the first few episodes, but man, it really picked up towards the end of that first half. And it looks like we're going to get a conclusion here, and it looks like it's going to go more powerful than we've ever seen anything in this universe in Eternia. So
I think the premise is pretty cool. I think that showing that it's more than about the thing that you thought it was about.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's always important in anything that you follow with. And it always puts the idea that if you rely on something in particular, like that's not enough. You have to rely on yourself. And I mean, I feel like that's kind of where they're going. I know that I mean, Kevin Smith called it right off the bat when he said he was feeling completely bad and down and like torn up over like everyone saying that it was the Tila show. And then Netflix reminded him that there is no bad press. Like, press is press. I mean, like, if they're talking about it, they're talking about it.
Good.
Someone's going to go in and do something. And I'm like, I mean, that's how I've always felt about everything. If someone says that something sucks before they go and watch it, may it sway my opinion? Maybe a little bit. But also, like, what really, makes me walk in with like a fully baked opinion is knowing more than I should have. And rumors are not more than I should have.
Right.
So,
well, for me, the only way I'm going to not watch something that somebody's told me, like, no, this is garbage, is if like I'm just looking for something to watch. Like, if I don't have any movie to watch, but I go to the movie theater and there's this and this and this playing, somebody says, no, don't watch that, it sucks. Okay, cool, I won't watch it then. If I physically go to the movies to watch a movie or turn on whatever streaming service to watch a show or a movie, like, I don't really care what anybody else said about it. Like, I'm here to watch this, and then I'll have my opinion about it. But you're right. It may, going into it, I may think that. I may think about somebody telling me, oh, well, this part sucks, or this sucks about it, and I'll take note of it whenever I'm watching. Like, it wasn't as bad as they said it was, or my difference in opinion. But yeah, I'm not going to let anybody talk me out of watching a movie or watching that kind of content. Hey, I'm a Green Lantern fan, so I'm not going to, and I champion that every day. I'm not going to let anybody talk me out of it. So.
And it goes right back to what I've always said. And, I mean, don't let anyone stop you from liking what you like. Why bother? Why bother letting other people's opinions, have any sway on your own if you don't have a chance? Because if that's you, then that's not your opinion, it's everyone else's. So,
right, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, there's no point in letting somebody ruin something that's good for you. I feel like as kids, it's way easier to let that happen. It's way easier to say that as an adult.
Yeah.
Fuck everybody else's opinion. It really is easier whenever you're making your own life. It's way easier. So
if you're an adult and you have kids, then you might as well go ahead and teach that lesson right now, because the faster that you figure it out, the faster things are going to work out for you.
100% agree. 100% agree. So, well,
but
I think that's
speaking of things that you like.
Tell me some stuff I like.
Let's see. Last week we left. We talked about a bunch of stuff that we probably didn't need to, but we were definitely talking about Dune. And Dune Part 2 got picked up.
Nice. I knew it would. I mean, come on. It was too. I have not heard one person say bad things about this movie. Now, granted, I have not gone to every person I know to ask them what they thought about it. And honestly, I haven't listened to any reviews on it. Like, I don't listen to a ton of podcasts anymore. I'm very selective
what I get. What you like.
You're right.
Like
exactly
what you like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about it. I got the guys at work that listen to the show that were telling me, how much they enjoyed this today, about how much they enjoyed that movie. I don't know if they were on the edge or not thinking about watching it at all, but I told them, I was like, go check it out. And they told me today they watched it last night and how great it was. So I really, really enjoyed the movie. I thought about it. We did kind of get on a tangent last week when we were talking about Dune. And kind of stopped talking about Dune and started talking about streaming services or something. I can't even remember what else.
We got to stop doing that.
Yeah. We chased a big squirrel. And I think we never really came back to Dune. I know we talked a little bit about it, but that's why I wanted Sarah's opinion on it, because I asked her about it the other day, and her husband and her son had went and saw it in theaters, and then she actually watched it, I think, through the streaming service at home. But she really enjoyed it. I wanted to, hear, and I'm sure whenever she comes back on, we'll hear what she has to say about it. But like I said, I haven't seen anybody who didn't like it. I know one question I wanted to ask you last week about Dune, since we're just talking about it right now.
Sure.
How were the worms on the old movie? They look really bad. Did it look like a Starlight pit, kind of?
No. The worms actually look pretty good. They weren't they weren't even like as bad as like the Rancor. Because the Rancor is that like there's definitely something on top of another scene. Yeah. And so like when you put the two of them together, like one's moving and the other one's not, no, they did not look that bad. I tried to intentionally stay away from it because of like what happens in like this version, Part 2. which once again I'm going to go into without knowing. So I'm only going to tell you right now, it was pretty good. And actually, like, I mean, assuming that's what Nathan's talking about, he said, for 85 tech, it was still pretty good. I can't complain. And I mean,
paying attention to that. Sorry, Nathan. What's up, man? Once again, this movie, whenever it first started, I didn't know about the lead. I don't know anything about this lead actor. He didn't look like somebody that I could like and it could carry the role. But even just towards the end of this movie, I was like, wow, okay, I can see this now. They progressed him very good in this movie from where he was in the beginning, which was good because they didn't make him out to be too much of a wimp in the beginning. He's right. Strong from the beginning. He just didn't look the part. I guess I needed to physically see him do some stuff that wasn't, wussy to really believe he could be this guy. So, which I can't pronounce the name of the one, I guess.
You're gonna ask me that. I'm not even gonna remember.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tangent right off of that. Yeah. I'm gonna say that you are gonna get part 2, October 20th of 23.
Ooh, I'll wait.
23. And just go ahead and say that what you do have is apparently, and I knew about this before the movie came out, and I completely forgot to mention it last week, was that you're getting a TV show.
Oh, nice.
You're getting an HBO show of the Dune, the Sisterhood. And that is going to be about the Bene Gesserit. So the girl, the woman who told them to put they're
not the power.
They're the women that basically protect all of it.
Okay.
So when stick your hand in the box,
she's force. I guess you could call it. I mean,
I would actually, if the force is the voice, then I would say that they are like the equivalent of like potential Jedi. Not like,
that makes sense.
Like that much. So,
yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. Long time to wait, but the show will hold us over between now and then. Same actors from the show are gonna be in the movie. Are gonna be in the show, you think, or do we not know yet?
I think so. I think a couple, but I don't think you're going to get any of the main characters. I believe it's going to be more about the religion-based concept.
Okay, but it's going to be a direct tie-in to the movie series.
It will be a tie-in, yes.
Okay, cool. Well, that'll be fun. New universe to check out. They advertise it as the new Lord of the Rings, the new Star Wars. So when they say something like that, I'm assuming that they're going to have a lot of shit. But they did a good job.
Why not?
Give me a lot of shit. Yeah.
I think that the thing that I think Lord of the Rings was just too far ahead of its time to come out and really do like some major serious world building, to a point to where they could take care of movies and streaming and just throw it all together because the universe is so vast.
Mm-hmm.
And Dune is like, well, the time is perfect and someone decided to pick it up. They got some great names behind it. I've heard nothing but great things about all the cinematography and everything behind that movie. And I can't believe that they didn't film part 2. I
really can't either.
Pick it up. I mean,
were they that worried that it wasn't going to be successful? Like, do they have that much?
I don't know.
Lack that much faith in themselves? I mean, goodness gracious.
I mean, you're asking a guy who doesn't sit on the board, so I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, so Nathan says he wants a Dune and Blade Runner 2049 crossover.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's get weird.
All right. Well, I'm excited for it, man. We're going to keep covering what's going on Dune. I'm sure when the show comes out, we'll cover it here. Let's give it a watch. So let's talk about some news, man. I know there's some big Star Wars news I want you to walk us into because I got excited when you talked to me about this.
Which one did I talk to you about? The Ahsoka news?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's been floating around quite a bit. And I only thought that it was kind of, one, it was controversial because of the way they got delivered. Two, it was controversial because we're going to be getting Hayden Christensen now in not only one, but 2 new Star Wars properties, both streaming. So it was Rosario Dawson welcoming him onto the show. And it was kind of like Like we've heard whispers, actually another piece of news that I sent you like earlier on and finally came true this week was of the same type. It's like, I've heard a little bit, I've heard a little bit, I've heard a little bit. And then someone comes out and says something and then you're like, boom, it's in your face. So now you have Hayden Christensen showing up as Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan series, which was, I believe, confirmed from Kathleen Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she made the big stink about it being like the Milla and Vanilla, like the major fight. The Thrilla in Manila is what they called it. There you go. I get the terminology right. But now you have Hayden Christensen showing up. If the timeline is correct, I believe it's 6 years after Return of the Jedi was The Mandalorian. So if that works out, then you're looking at Hayden Christensen as a Force Ghost, which I've never understood the Force Ghost thing. So
okay. Let's talk about it, because this is my question I wanted to ask you, because like it sounds really cool. Like I like the idea, but what does that do for the timeline? Like I can't possibly in my mind, unless you're talking
it doesn't
about
muddle it
flashbacks.
up.
Yeah, it doesn't, because we don't know the story yet. But unless you're talking about flashbacks or Force Ghosts, that was in my mind. That's the only way I can think of Hayden Christensen in an Ahsoka show, because they showed us in Clone Wars that the last time they saw each other. Here we go.
He just popped up. That's flashback. I'm telling you right now. Wars.
Yeah, I was saying that's where I learned it. Yeah,
more than I want Force Ghost Anakin.
100%, 100% agree.
Nothing but the flashback. I mean, I don't care how they make it work. You know what the biggest negative to this news is?
What's that?
Is that when you watch The Mandalorian season 2 finale episode, no one, like, those rumors were tighter than a stripper zipper. Okay. No one knew Luke was going to come back. Luke came back and it tore the internet a new asshole.
Yeah.
Okay. I wish this would have done the same thing, because you know what? I could have dealt with, give me the Obi-Wan news. Let me know what's going on. But then bring him in Ahsoka in a way that not only like just blows like your whole entire mind up, because you're like, wait, we got him again? He's not in a black suit? Like,
this is pre-burn. Yeah, dude. I'm saying, Nathan says in the chat room, says he wants the Force Ghost too. I do too, but if I had to choose between the two, I want the flashback. I want to see him, like you said. I want to see Sky Guy and Snips in live action together. That'd be fucking awesome. I once again don't know how they would do that, because Rosario Dawson's playing an older Ahsoka, correct?
Yeah, but I mean,
they can make it work.
Her species ages, totally different, and I think that
just shorten the head tail a little bit, right? That's all I gotta do. Shorten the head tail a little bit, and should be good.
You're balding. Why are you balding?
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. Insane stuff. What was the other Star Wars news you had?
That was pretty much right off the bat. I was just wondering where you were going to go. It was like, wait a second, like, how big? You're making this very big.
I got you.
We do this show on Friday, and like the only thing that gets me is that, like, I mean, I keep up with news all week long. So when I write it down, like on Saturday,
yeah, exactly. No, I get it.
I'm like, like I've heard about it already, like all week long.
Yep.
The only thing else that I have is I got a little bit of Marvel and DC news. Pick one. Which one do you go with first?
Let's go with Marvel.
Marvel, they go ahead and groan, get it out, because I know you're probably not going to enjoy this one. Just go ahead and groan.
All right.
We're getting this first 2 Hawkeye episodes right on the drop, so you're not only going to get 1, but you can get 2.
I can deal with that.
You may not like Hawkeye. I will just go ahead and suck up all of the Marvel information, because I'm a fan of all of it. The other bit was the one that I sent you like a couple weeks back, but now that Bill Murray finally confirmed it, he's going to be in Quantumania. It's assumed he's going to play Scott's dad.
Okay.
Which I could totally see. I mean, if you're going to learn that kind of shitty funny humor, you might as well learn it from one of the masters.
Very true. Very, very true. Yeah.
Let's see. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as far as Hawkeye goes, I'll watch the show for sure. Hawkeye, I'm looking at it like this. This is a show I don't need, but
Right.
when I watch it, it may be a show that I end up loving, and it very well could blow me away. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't like it. And like I said, I may really love it. It's just one that I feel like I don't need this, But I've seen a lot of things like that. That after I've watched it, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm really glad that I got it. Didn't need it, but still haven't watched Black Widow yet. But I'm going to. I know I've heard that a lot, so I'm going to. Once again, it's one of those ones that I just didn't need, but from what I hear, really, really enjoyable.
I'll tell you right now, you better hurry up because you're about to get Eternals in theater, but on the 12th you get Shang-Chi, on Disney Plus on Disney Plus Day. Not to mention whatever else they drop, but I'm gonna watch Shang-Chi right on the 12th. As soon as it shows up, and it's not like a groundbreaking movie, but it's a good movie. I mean, like it's what it is? Widow. It's the bridge. It's the bridge between we're out of shows, we're gonna get a new one,
and we should.
It may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I mean, like I'm for it.
Yeah,
you're right.
No, I'm saying that's part of it. They should. Then they realize that. So yeah. Like I said, I have no doubts it's a good movie just based on what I heard from it. It's just one of those ones that I didn't need, but I want to watch it. I need to give it a chance. And same way with Hawkeye. I got a pretty good feeling once I watch it, once I start getting into Hawkeye, I'm gonna really enjoy it. Marvel really doesn't put out a lot of stuff that I don't like that much. So yeah, I mean,
I'm only picking on you, man.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. But I mean, it's gonna be fun too. When does Hawkeye? You said first 2 episodes drop when?
It's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Okay,
I think.
So not too far out.
Actually, it's the same day as He-Man, I believe.
It gives me so much stuff to watch, new stuff to watch in one day.
Oh no!
Unless I'm off.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
True. Yeah, true. Well, I hope. It just depends. I might be able to get that weekend off. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway,
however much you get.
Post office is always open, buddy. We're always running. But all right, give me the DC news.
Hold on. I got.
Oh, you're not finished with Marvel, sorry.
It's minuscule, but Catherine Hahn's not going to do a show that she was going to do, so we may get the WandaVision spinoff of her character sooner. And then I've got that the Eternals has a pretty low Rotten Tomatoes score right off the bat.
Really?
And that's with like no one but like critics seeing it, so I don't trust it.
I don't trust it either.
Yeah. I have heard that they don't don't introduce any I guess legendary MCU cast, but I mean, they're trying to like move on and move past, so
right.
I'm completely on board. Who knows? I'm game, like you said, like they haven't done anything to screw me up yet, so whatever.
Yeah, Eternals looks interesting. I don't know anything about it at all going into, so that's fun going into it. Good looking cast. I'm more interested to see how this ties into the MCU than I am anything. Like I've seen a lot of really cool action, a lot of cool creatures, and I'm excited for that kind of stuff, the story and everything. But I just want to know how it ties into everything and how well they do that. Are they going to leave me more questions after this, or am I going to have some, I guess, closure about some things? So I think they will. We're going to see that.
We may not get this movie, but you know what I do trust them with, and that's universe building, and I am perfectly fine to let that slowly build.
Yeah. I mean, even if they're doing something to set up for a lot of stuff in the future, I'd be cool with that. And once again, I may not know that right off the bat and throughout this movie, but I mean, you said we were just saying Marvel hasn't steered us wrong yet. So
yep.
All right, cool. Well, do you have any more MCU or Marvel news? Called MCU now, Marvel news.
No, we'll move on to DC. I've got the real simple Robot Man himself is going to move on to Batgirl as a villain. Not really? Robot Man, but Brandon Fraser. Fraser is going to definitely cast a villain.
Wow, okay.
And from what I know about Doom Patrol, I don't know what they're gonna do, but I'm fucking on board.
Yeah, I loved him as younger as an actor in the movies we saw him in, like Encino Man and all that good stuff, you know. But as older as an actor too, man, just like Cliff Steele's a really really good role for him, and he plays it perfectly. He plays it
Yep,
perfectly. So yeah,
totally.
I'm down for that. I'm down for that casting. So
the only other thing is that we have a rumor that Momoa has COVID, so I don't know what that's going to do to the whole entire filming of Aquaman. I mean, Pattinson also had COVID on like the Batman, so
right.
who knows?
I'm
I'm
sure
not
in a
hurting.
couple of weeks we'll hear
So,
about how it got held up for however long it's continuing a process. So hopefully that's the case, and we'll see what happens. All right. Any more news?
that's all I got.
Cool. Well, let's hop into the shows then, man. I say we save the newest one for last and just go ahead and start wrapping up Stargirl and Doom Patrol, since it's the only two we got left, man. We have 4 and then 3 and then 2, and actually now we got 3 again. Let's start with Stargirl. This show is interesting. For me, what gets me about this show is what they choose to have the characters fixate on, and then what they choose other characters either to not give a shit about or fixate on. You know, like just for instance, like Pat this entire time has been all about justice and doing stuff right, and they pounded in our heads about how he wasn't a part of that murder and how he didn't believe in that kind of stuff. But he's going to go to a hospital with a guy that's in a bed that can't even talk. All he could do is write and talk to him about what a bad guy can be. And we don't see what he did to this guy. But I don't know. I just feel like torture is right up there with killing. Like it's borderline, maybe worse sometimes. So I don't know what he did to this guy that definitely didn't want to drop the charges on Rick, but he did something where he had to lock the door and close the blinds. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I don't like Yolanda's take on this whole thing. I haven't liked it the whole season. How she's about I'm the one who kills, and then now she found out that the old one did it, and she's like, "Oh, that doesn't make any better." Now everybody wears a suit kills. I just want to be like, look, you fight evil for a living. Like,
no, not even for a living.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I mean. Like if you get involved in this kind of stuff, man, you can't expect nobody to ever die, right? Like it just doesn't happen like that. Let's be realistic about it, But once again, kids show, I get it. But all in all, this show, it's going in a good direction. It's a little bit telegraphed. I think towards the end, we'll see the last couple episodes here and see if it is. But I kind of feel like they put it out there too quickly, or not too quickly, but too easy for me to figure out exactly where it was going. They stressed about how the light was going, how it was the thing that could beat him, and how they pounded in their head and in our heads about how Calypso was going to turn them evil and show the evil side of this. I'm like, okay, well, obviously being really good and the light is what's going to defeat him, is not making the decision to make the murder, to kill the person. That's going to be what defeats him. And we'll see what happens in the future, but I feel like they're telegraphing that a little bit. I don't know, maybe me. What do you think?
I think we were just missing Bob Marley's "The Sun Is Shining," and I mean, like once the sun shines, like everything is fixed. Like the whole kingdom is saved. I walked away from this episode thinking that the only thing that we were missing was 80s music for a montage, because we got the superhero moment where everyone's like gearing up, like they're taping up their hockey sticks to go beat the next team,
putting the hourglass together. Yeah.
Yeah, that part right there actually is like one of my one things where I'm like, how's that gonna work?
Yeah, I was thinking to myself too. I was like, if
Abracadabra,
if you know how to do that, why wouldn't you just make a bunch of them?
Yeah, I mean, look, they made it. They made it. The kid is smart,
right?
But if he's so smart,
they laid that out there.
Then why is he still rebuilding the same thing?
Yeah.
There is one more episode, I believe. I believe that's 13 is what they're doing.
Okay.
And I don't want to say that I can't wait for it, but I just go ahead and need it right now. I just need to go ahead and get. You're right. Pat made it awkward, Look, was he wrong? No.
No, not by any means.
But I mean, like, was Cindy wrong in doing what she did? No. But I mean, no one likes Cindy. Everyone wants to stab Cindy, but yes, Cindy's the one with all the knives.
Mhm.
I, I, uh, I fail to reconcile with myself if I should have just binged this whole season,
Mhm.
and maybe I would have felt better about it.
I didn't think about it like that, but maybe that is what because like I said, I like the show. Maybe they just don't leave me at good points to where I'm like, oh shit, what happens next week?
Yeah.
Maybe they wrap it up too nicely at the end. Or this one was definitely kind of wrapped up too nicely for it to be. I guess if next week's the last episode, this is the penultimate. It was definitely like wrapped up too nicely at the end. They threw a little twister towards us, but once again, it's one of those things you kind of saw coming. Even whenever Cindy's telling Courtney that straight over, telling Yolanda that's what she's got to do. She's got to release the evil side of her and fight fire with fire. I'm like, okay, I get it. I get what you're saying. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. The Jakeem storyline, I'm interested to see what's going on with this. This just seems like two lost kids who have no idea what's happening. I don't know how it's going to tie into everything going on.
You're going to get Mike playing Pat, but the Thunderbolt instead of Starman.
Yeah,
he plays the sidekick, but
he's Thunderbolt's guy in the chair. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I think that may be what they're doing because they definitely don't want to cut him out of the team. But you can't. You've already introduced the character of Jakeem in the first season, so you can't, or at least the name you introduced. So you can't really go away from that now. Why would you? I don't know. Stargirl's going to be an interesting ending of the second season. I haven't heard anything. Did it get renewed for next season? Do we know anything about that yet?
I believe it did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I was curious about the. Well, I mean, we got the whole weird scene at the end with Ginny in the bed, like completely like flipping. But what was your take on her picking up the dark snot? I don't know, and it going into the ring. Yeah.
So they called it the dark residue.
Residue.
Yeah, something like
that. Well, that's definitely what the goggles called it.
Yeah, I don't like what they've done with this character. I mean, once again, I've never read any comics or any kind of material with her in it, so I don't know the whole storyline with her and the Lantern. But I just don't like it. They're giving the ring too much like human characteristics. They're basically treating the ring like they are the staff. It's the magic carpet on Aladdin. Like
don't even start me on that.
Like she's supposed to power the ring. She's and I get that she's learning the ring and she's learning from not even somebody who is a Lantern, which is another thing that kind of blows my mind, how she doesn't know anything about any of that stuff. But once again, I don't know any backstory with her, so maybe this is all true. I just personally don't like it. It seems like the ring is a fix-all. The ring can smell dark matter. It's like the ring can do everything. Well, just have her on her team and train her to be good, and you'll never lose. Because apparently the ring, we still haven't seen a suit. Which once again,
which I'm fine with.
See a good Green Lantern suit,
right?
Yeah,
if they do it right, I'm fine with.
Yeah, just don't give me a Dr. Midnight. Oh, can I just mention real quick? The actual Dr. Midnight looks much better in that suit than Beth does. They got to give Beth a new suit.
But you did see the Dr. Midnight glasses, and like I said last week, I mean, like they were trying to tease like a version 3, and we got that. My alternate persona or my alter ego has normal glasses because I don't know if you look at that man's eyes. It's like his eyes. Is he blind? I don't know enough about his character. Is he blind without like seeing goggles and glasses? Because his eyes got that blind quality. I don't know.
Blind quality.
Nice thing to say, but my man can't see.
Yeah, he very well could be. I mean, he's going to die next episode, right? They're not going to have any actual members.
Someone has to give their life. Right. I don't think it's going to be
he's going to go be with his daughter. Right. He's going to go be with his daughter. So, and he's the expendable character they've introduced in the last couple of episodes to what's the word I'm looking for, to justify his storyline, complete his storyline, So I don't know, but yeah, he's going to die next episode. I'd bet money on it. I honestly didn't think he was going to make it out of the Shadowlands. I thought he was going to sacrifice himself so the others could, but they got me on that one. So
I think that my worst part was at the beginning, and my best part was probably at the end. And my worst part of this episode was, why does the staff have to act like a dog?
Right.
Because
right.
staff
It's the magic carpet
literally was going around. I don't remember the dog's name, but yeah, it was literally going around with the dog like, I want Cheetos. Like, Courtney's home, Courtney's home, Courtney's home.
Right.
But at the end, we got Courtney, and I was like, oh, I'm here for that. Give me Dark Courtney.
I liked the look. I did like the look. I mean, the black and white's cool anyway, and you have that little bit of color into it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like the look. So I'm assuming in the end they're going to have to come together and defeat Courtney in the end without killing her, obviously. So how do you think they're going to go about that? Because they've been talking about him not having a host. Do you think he's going to make Courtney his new host in the last episode?
Ooh, maybe Dr. Midnight's going to like take the glasses off, take the goggles off, and give them to her. I don't know. I'm spitballing.
Yeah. And once again, we did just see a clip, like a snippet of that picture. It may not even be something that actually happens. It may be what they have to try to prevent. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Final episode now. He said, look, Nathan said he gave up on Stargirl CW. They did
you're
CW.
not wrong.
Yeah. It's one of those ones I've been there since the beginning. It hasn't been bad enough for me. Yeah, exactly. It hasn't been bad enough for me to want to quit it yet. But like most CW shows, if I get it right, about midway through next season, it's going to be like, do I really want to watch this anymore? Like, because that's usually the way CW shows go. About midway through season 3, it's like, and then if it makes it to season 7 or 8, then maybe it's going to pick back up at them. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Stargirl. Yeah, let's be real. There's so much stuff out there. You got to make cuts. Sorry, you got to make cuts, and you still got to play. To start. If you're one of these shows, you got to be a starter to be on this show. So we'll see what happens. Finale next week, and then I don't know when season 3 comes out, but we have quite a while between now and then. I'm sure lots of stuff between now and then. All right, let's talk. Do you have something else you want to say about Stargirl?
Nope.
Okay. Look, Sarah says she already spoke her piece about the teenage self-righteousness. Yes, 100% agree. That's the biggest.
But I haven't had enough. Come back on.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's talk about some Doom Patrol. For the last 3 or 4 episodes, have been really asking myself with this show, is this really something I can follow? Is this really something I want to watch? Because I just don't have enough to grasp onto, other than good acting, funny scenes. I like the characters. I don't have enough to quite grasp onto. And then last week, it started to kind of come together a little bit. And then this week, I watched it and I had to ask myself. I think I sent you a message after I got done watching. I was like, I can't decide if this is the best episode of this season or if I need to process it a little more to figure out what's going on. I think after thinking about it, for storyline and cohesiveness of everything, me understanding a little more about how the hell this is all happening, yes, it was the most, I guess, the easiest to understand episode. Everything came together. I had this question and this question, and they pulled them all in and they put them right here. And it's like, okay, I only have a couple questions out there still, and maybe it'll get answered in the next episode. I'm not sure. Looks like it's going to be. But they just did a really good job tying things together. Now, there's the therapy session and all kinds of stuff. This episode's about feelings and really getting to know the characters. But it, for me, is making this season work, because I started to think for a little while this season just going off the rails, and I don't know if I can follow it. But this episode started to really get it. And look, Sarah even says right here, Doom Patrol's losing me. Sarah, I don't know if you watched this week's episode, but they're starting to pull it up. It's like lacing up shoes. Like they're making that final pull. They're about to start tying it up. So, yeah. Got a new member in the chat here. Staz. I don't know how exactly to pronounce that. Howdy. So, Doom Patrol, man, what was your thoughts on this week? Like I said, I think this might have been one of the best episodes of the season, just because it's coming together. What did you think?
I love this show.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything that gets me, it is the complete randomness that is this show. Mm-hmm. I am all in, and I don't care. I think that the writers and the whole entire direction definitely gave us a fantastic culmination start on episode 7. Like, wait, this is no episode 8. So we have 9 and 10.
Right.
We have 2 more episodes left, and they started. You know what? It's gonna sound mean, but you know what Titans didn't do for me?
What's that?
Get me to completion, because they sure didn't do that. Doom Patrol is working their way with still having 2 episodes left and getting me the story, combining all of these crazy ass puzzle pieces into something that makes sense.
Right.
And are they giving me everything? No, you just said it. They're not doing something that it's going to unfold every last little bit, because clearly when you make a show, you want the finale to tie everything. You know, I mean, if you're going to put that James Bond tie on at the end, you need it to be at the end. And I was here for every bit of this. I thought that it was crazy. I thought that what they did with they give you sub personas of these people. So not like the main version of themselves, but different versions of themselves that they have to deal with. And is it weird? Absolutely. Is it crazy? Once again, absolutely. Does it work? Yes, it does. I mean, the cyber thing was weird because it wasn't actually him. But I mean, you know, here we get to see all the versions of the characters. And at the very end of the episode, I don't remember if it was the director or the writer. I believe it was the director. Said that for the whole entire thing, for Jane's little vision that she had, came from the fact that if Crazy Jane went to all these mental institutions, when she was in them, they would drug her up. And when they would drug her up, they'd sit her in front of a TV and she'd sit there like a vegetable, drooling from the mouth, watching kids shows. And then that's what Kay actually got to. That's how she visioned like her perfect world would be her sitting there on Sesame Street or Underground Avenue and actually have this whole entire thought. And I'm like, that's so stupid. It's genius. I mean, like, because when you explain that nice little bit, it gives you like you realize that they're trying to go like quad dimensional with all of these characters. They're not trying to keep them very simple and basic. And I mean, Jane's already like on a level that, you know, we don't normally see. This right here was fantastic. It was so weird that I bought into it without asking, but that's what the show does for me. Like, they push that envelope to a point where I'm like, I have questions, but I'm going to hold them till the end.
Yeah.
And this was spot on.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the way it's been for me. I've been asking a lot of questions, and I wasn't sure if they were going to get answered because the show's just been really, really strange. They did a really good job of spinning this merry-go-round really fast to the point where I feel like I was going to get slung off, and now it's slowing down. I can pull myself back in a little bit. Jane and Rita are the 2 characters that I have the most questions about still, because I think Jane is the most difficult to understand with the underground, the other personalities, and I still, you know, maybe it's just being time travel. That I just don't understand time travel. That's what I'm going to chalk it up to, because every time you involve time travel in something, I get really confused, you know, and maybe, like I said, maybe I have my own set of rules in my head, but I don't know how this is all coming together with the Rita story. Because I don't know how she got to where she's at and how, like, it's just so confusing. And I'm hoping there's going to be a little more explanation. I thought they were kind of giving me that this episode, but they really didn't. You just saw her time traveling again, Back to the Future, then not explaining how she kept her. Well, actually, we don't know where she went to. I guess that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but she shows up in the end. This is really, really strange. I don't get that, and I don't get. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Look, Sarah says, odd that I understand Jane more than the others. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I understand Jane. I don't understand what happened to her in this episode, because in this episode, it feels like everybody in the underground is gone. Like maybe Kay has dismissed all these personalities, and now, but wouldn't that just leave Jane? Jane is Kay, right? Or is she Kay and Jane is her more adult personality? So is she Kay now?
The schnozberries taste like schnozberries.
Yeah, that's the part that I'm confused about.
Kay is
Cyborg.
Kay, and in this episode, she definitely said that she was tired of Jane's shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting how they tie this one, because Jane doesn't really have any superpowers other than without the other personalities, does she? So I don't know.
so I don't want to begin to touch that, because my knowledge on that is very minimal. But I will tell you that the fact that her personalities have superpowers is pretty amazing in itself.
Yeah.
You can't argue with the results, I believe, is one the situation I would pin this next to. There's just something, and actually, so you brought it up, talking about time travel. I was stuck in a infinite loop time conundrum with Rita brought the time machine back, but then the brain and the monkey figured out how to create the time machine, so they recreated the time machine based off the one that she brought back. And I'm like, wait, chicken or egg? Hold on. Then I was like, don't bother.
That's my issue. That's my issue.
And go with it.
Was she there for 30 years? Is that what they're implying?
Yeah.
Because they said that whenever she was like, well, when I landed here 30 years ago, I'm like, that was supposed to be 30 years you were there? Like, wow, I didn't realize it was that amount of time. That's crazy. She lived a whole another life, basically.
So she showed up. It was 1917 was the name of that episode, 1917 Patrol. She showed up during World War I, and I don't remember the exact year, but I believe they were pushing World War II in this one.
Okay.
I mean, dude, I don't know what you say about that. I mean, she's there. She doesn't age. Like I said, she's the Blob. Ever since she's been the Blob, she doesn't age. But her memories showed back up in the time machine.
Mm-hmm.
So she got back in the time machine. You're talking. I'm fine with not explaining it, but if I start to explain it, then things get weird.
Yeah,
because the best way to put it.
Yeah, I agree, because it's one of those causal things. Like, somebody was already sent there to stop the eternal flagellant, but Rita hadn't even gone back in time yet, and she's what initiated. It's just it. You're right. When she started thinking about it, it's like, what the fuck? Better just not to ask questions, I think. You're right.
You're going to get to a certain point where things start getting really, where you cross a line between what you want reality to be,
right?
Like it could be, I guess, because we can't actually say reality, but yeah.
So of all the characters that we saw today, I think the only one, because the eternal flatulent came, which ended up being a lot. I don't know. They played it up really big the whole season, and then it was just kind of like, well, and we don't even know if it's over yet. I'm assuming it's over. We don't even know if it's over yet. It just seemed really easy to defeat, and I guess the only way to defeat it was to have a breakthrough. But it seems to me the only character that had a breakthrough in the entire group of people was the guy playing Cyborg, the superhero, and
oh God, was he Colonel, General?
I can't remember, but that anyway, character and Larry. Everybody else didn't have a breakthrough. Jane lost all her the people in the ground. She has no idea what's going on. Know where Kay is at. Cliff and Cliff were fighting back and forth with each other, and they basically said "fuck you" and left. I don't really know what's happening. And then Rita, I don't know what's going on with Rita. Like I said, that's the one that's up in the air for me. But maybe they'll pull that in for me. I don't know. I just didn't think that anybody got any kind of closure. You're not
I don't think it's so much breakthrough as much as it is air out your feelings.
Yeah.
Because you have Kay finally telling Jane that Jane's holding Kay back. You got Cliff, who is finally telling Robot Man. I don't know. You got, that whole situation is essentially you can't be so selfish. Now you're being selfish with your daughter's child, or you're not being selfish. Or hold on, I don't know the best way to say that. You're being selfish, and it's causing you to not spend time with your grandchild, I guess, the best way to put it. And if dude, let's be honest. Like, if he was leaving his daughter in the back seat of his car every single time he's going to party, what the hell?
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah,
Pretty
like,
fucked
I
up.
mean, like, how do you reconcile that as a child? I mean, like I know some pretty horrible stories about like the way the kids have been treated, but I mean, like, that's pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm. Look, I love my kids, and anybody out there that has kids knows there's moments where you do want to just pull your hair out, and there's moments where you do, but I've just never actually done that. Like, my goodness gracious, like, I don't get how anybody can do it. And once again, that's what you're supposed to feel. That's what they want you to feel. That is like how they want you to hate this character for that, and they want him to hate himself for that. So it sucks. I couldn't. I didn't think that's where they were going with that. Like, whenever they first go to his clip, I thought they were just going to do with him and the cheating on his wife. And I thought, well, that's bad enough. But then of course the stripper talks about the little girl in the back seat, and I was like, oh wow, they are really, really taking it somewhere with this one.
Walking in like she's talking about some Walmart shopper who left their headlights on. I don't know if you're the person to talk to about this, but there's some little kid in the back seat back there.
Right. Let's see. Oh yeah, and Larry and the larva. We still don't know anything about this. Like I said, I think they're setting that up.
That sounds
for
like a
next
TV
season.
show in itself.
It does, a radio show. Larry and the larva, kids book. I don't know if I think they're setting up something for next season. I'm not gonna lie, I really thought that we were gonna see Dorothy again this season, but she gone.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I feel like they gave enough reason to push her off.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be honest. Like, how many of these characters actually eat? And I always saw them making food in like season 1 and season 2. Like, they're making all these sandwiches and like all this other stuff, like in bowls. I'm like, wait, Larry doesn't eat. Robot Man doesn't eat. I don't know if Cyborg eats. I guess he does.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I kept on seeing that, and I'm like, well, she's gone, so now we don't need sandwiches anymore, except unless Rita's just going to eat all of them.
It's true.
I never thought about that. I didn't think that we. Oh no! Like, I don't know why it sticks out in my brain.
That's pretty good.
Maybe because there's always hungry mouths, and you're like, just wait.
True.
I thought that this episode really left the. Well, I mean, I'll stick with Larry for a minute. Like, watching him turn around and like rock his little tumor, like after like he came to terms like with his old self and new self, and like how much he needs to love something, like watching him do that. But the biggest, no, not even the biggest, you have Jane. She shows up to the underground, like everyone's missing, and everyone, she gets told that like, everyone's gone. That's not a big deal. I think Cliff is just like a standard 30-day delay on understanding things compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
But the biggest one would be Vic.
Yes.
You have Vic wake up. And Vic's got a couple scars on him, which look healed. I don't understand. He's got scars that look healed, and all of his tech is gone.
It's not. I guess that Kmart suit didn't leave scars on it. It was probably easy to take off. They just had to snap the buttons off in the back and pull it off.
Couple zippers. Yeah, actually, you're probably right. It's probably snaps. It's probably not even zippers. We're not paying YKK.
Yeah. No, but that was interesting the way they left him, because I thought before. Well, no, I guess that does make sense, because when he got taken away, he was in the waiting room of the place. So I guess, that does make sense that he would show up.
No, he was on the table when he got taken away.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and not only that, but I'm going to bring up something that it's probably going to be an unpopular opinion. And that little shit throwing all those toys on the ground, his dad didn't need to sit there and say what he said. His dad probably just needed to backhand him and be like, I don't know what you think you're doing, but looking at toys does not involve throwing them on the ground.
Thank you. Because here's the thing. The point they're trying to make is a completely valid point. And I completely understand a little black kid walking through a store and wanting to see a superhero toy that looks like him. I completely understand that.
But a spoiled kid.
Yeah, the second you start taking the ones that you don't like and just throwing them on the floor, you're damn right somebody needs to come yoke you up. Like maybe you shouldn't be the store manager, but your dad should. And like I said, I totally get where you're coming from. but there's no need to just start throwing them on the floor. And nothing was said about that at all. Nothing at all. They didn't mention one thing about stuff being on the floor. I was like, come on, man, really?
I would have sacrificed a whole day of my life and been like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna clean this store top to bottom. Yeah. Get to working.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But like I said, I completely understand the point they're trying to make with that scene, and I agree with it. But just some of it, I was like, well, okay, but I can look past that. No big deal. I didn't, but I did notice that myself, and I was like, that's not good parenting. I don't feel
just good. Pow, right in the kisser.
All right. I'm trying to think. Anything else about Doom Patrol this week? We got 2 more episodes of the way it ended. Rita and what's old girl's name?
Oh yeah, Laura DeMille.
Yeah,
Madame Rouge, because apparently I can't pay attention to subtitles, but yeah.
But they just kind of meet face to face at the end there. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be an interesting situation, especially since she had her in that chokehold earlier. Which I don't care if she changed to look like your boyfriend she killed. Keep choking her out. It's not him. Keep choking her out.
That's a total mix-up. I mean, they're completely doing like a whole misdirection, like with who's who and who changed and what faces looks like who and blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm really interested on seeing how they're gonna like finish tying that whole thing together. So
it makes me wonder. Like you're right. Is Rita the bad guy of this season? Like, could she be?
Here we are using art as the eternal flagellant. Mm-hmm. Or flagellation. I don't want to say how many artists do you know that want to like destroy the world, but I mean, like, this seems like a little severe.
Well, remember, they weren't trying to destroy the world. They were trying They were trying to make everybody realize the evilness inside them, so that way they could become better people. Which realistically is not an evil plan or like a bad idea. Right. Now, once again, going about it, the way you go about it is different. Thanos is not wrong. The way he goes about it is wrong. Like there's just certain things. So,
it's efficient.
Right. It's efficient. Exactly. So, but yeah, I'm interested to see, like I said, because I was kind of getting those vibes toward the end. I was like, I think they might be making Rita the bad guy in this. And maybe she doesn't even realize she's the bad guy, but I don't know. Doom Patrol continues to keep me guessing on what's going to happen next, mainly because what I've seen so far in these episodes, I haven't been able to tie together. Now it's starting to come together. I have a better idea of where it looks like they're kind of going in the end, but I still have a lot of stuff up in the air, which is a good thing to know going into the finale. I don't want to know everything's going to happen. Like, I feel like I'm starting to feel about Stargirl. I feel like I know what's going to happen in the end. I don't feel like I know what's going to happen in Doom Patrol because I just finally felt like I caught up to what's going on. Like, I don't know.
But I'm a fan of it.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
It's a good show. All right, well, we got 2 weeks in the finale. Let's talk about. Good. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, why don't you go ahead and give me your lowdown? You just give me a minute, but you go ahead and give me your lowdown on our next show.
Yeah,
the first episode.
Prodigy. All right, let's do it. So, new show came out. This is a Nickelodeon animated show. It's on Paramount Plus. It is a Star Trek animated show. It is geared towards children. It is definitely, well, I don't want to say it's got a younger mindset kind of storyline, because the storyline is actually really on point. I got a lot of Star Wars, Clone Wars vibes out of it. I haven't watched Rebels yet, but I assume it's kind of the same way. The animation was on point. And this one actually had me tied up where, like, I wanted to like watch it and like stop it and go do something, but I couldn't because I had to keep seeing what was going to happen next, because it really did interest me in like, okay, what's going to happen next? The only problem with it is I'm not a big Star Trek guy. Not that I don't like it, just that I've never done a whole lot of stuff with Star Trek. I'm trying to get more into it. The entire time I'm watching this, I'm trying to picture where it's at in the timeline of Star Wars. And I'm like, well, that's not going to work, or waiting to see some Star Wars characters. I'm like, oh, that's not going to work. So I said I got a very Star Wars vibe out of this. I think this is a show that kids could definitely get into. I think it's a show adults get into. But, my daughter just found out that I had Paramount Plus for the first time. Don't know why. I've had it for a few months. But as soon as she signed up for it, she started flipping through the shows and she saw this. And I said, you should check that out. You'd really like it. And I'm interested to see if she does and what her thoughts are on it. But overall, once again, the animation's right there. I like the characters. There's not a lot of questions I have right off the bat, like things they left in the air that I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm going into this fresh, not knowing anything about this world. The only thing I do know, I think, is the character they revealed at the very end. I've seen her before, and I'm sure we'll talk about that as we go into it. And I actually saw her just flipping through Paramount Plus, looking at stuff. So I saw her on the cover of Voyager thing. So I was like, oh, okay, they're tying this in. I see. But I don't know anything yet about species. If there's any characters they've introduced that are known characters, or if this is a completely new to the Star Trek universe. Like, you would be able to answer that better for me, and Sarah would as well. Like, is this all new stuff? Do we know anything about this show? The characters in the show?
The show is definitely like we described it previously. It's a kickoff. It's a kickoff that gets, just like you described it, kids your kids' age into Star Trek. Very little knowledge necessary. Mm-hmm. It really, the only thing that you get from this part 1, part 2 kickoff is that there are Federation starships. Mm-hmm. There's a prisoner planet, and that there's a translator.
Yeah,
there's a universal translator. Mm-hmm. They show you that standard is what they call the language.
Basic, yeah.
Of English.
Basic,
yeah.
That's funny.
They say that, and I don't remember the main character's name because I know that he's got an apostrophe in there, and I don't really care a whole lot for those.
Dak is what they call him, but I don't know the whole name. Yeah.
His species is unknown.
Right. And they mentioned that a couple of times, which means it's going to be a big deal in this show. So
I think they're doing it to kind of give you something new. I mean, because they have to give you something new in order for, I guess, other Trek fans to like kind of get into it.
Right.
Because, like I am completely 150,000% with Sarah. Like, Lower Decks is hilarious. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're a Star Trek fan, man, every 5 seconds they got something to tickle parts of you that you forgot existed. Mm. And this right here, this gives you something new. It's funny you talk about Paramount Plus, like your kid's not paying attention to it, because I mean, like, I never made it a big thing. Like, Paramount Plus was for me. Like, I got back onto it because I wanted to watch the shows, but like now everyone's like clamoring, like, well, why can't you log me in? I want to watch blah blah blah. Between this, Lower Decks, everything else that you get, Star Trek is what's, it's probably only my personal opinion, but I feel like Star Trek is kind of holding Paramount Plus up to a certain point.
I think they're holding that genre up with them. I think like Paramount, they got Star Trek, and then Disney got Star Wars and Marvel, and Warner Brothers got DC or HBO Max. So like everybody's kind of putting their stakes in the franchises that they're going to control and have power with. So yeah, they've definitely done a lot of Star Trek stuff though on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, and I think that you're going to get, you can get more shows come back to Paramount, but right now you have this, and this is very. You say Clone Wars. I mean, I watched Rebels. I thought Rebels was definitely more of a line to kind of tie it to. Mm-hmm. The first episode, they call it a 2-parter. I'm assuming that we're only going to get 20-ish minute episodes of this show going forward.
Right.
It was definitely this is going to kind of go back to our video game question, but did you ever play Fallen Order? Star Wars Fallen Order?
Mm-hmm.
So like that, the whole premise of the kickoff of that video game was, here you have a character on a prisoner planet doing prisoner style things, slave things, and then we push forward from there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we got on this. It was definitely more geared towards kids. It was simple. It was funny. I mean, the guy that plays, were you a big The League fan on FX?
No.
Fantasy football? Oh, it's a fantastic show. You got to watch that show for one of your TV shows.
Yeah? Okay.
Oh, man, The League is awesome. Well, have you seen Parks and Rec?
Yeah. Bits and pieces. I haven't watched it all the way through, but yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of Parks and Rec.
Dennis Feinstein, so the guy who plays John Ralphio not John Ralphio. Oh, excuse me. The guy that plays Ralphie, one of the brothers on the League.
Mhm.
I cannot remember the guy's name, but he voices the engineers.
Okay.
I mean, the dude's hilarious, and he's all over the place. Oh, fucking some of the best one-liners too. But he's probably the biggest name in this show.
Okay.
The character that you saw that you were talking about, they brought up at the very end of the episode, that was Captain Janeway. Captain Janeway was voiced by the original Captain Janeway character.
Okay.
She is reprising her role. What we're going to see, in my opinion, is a kid who has enough wit to actually kind of like not really be captain, but to make the closest calls possible,
Mhm.
to lead other people into doing something. And they're going to minimally, man this starship. And Captain Janeway is playing the holographic robot persona.
She's the Alpha 5. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's going to lead them into their first season, is the way that I feel that it is going to happen right now.
Yeah.
Is it entertaining? Yes. You brought up, I think you said in one of the chat, I was busy earlier, so the chat was just
Mm-hmm.
The animation, fantastic.
Yeah. On point.
Yeah.
I
cannot argue.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And maybe it's just today's day and age. I don't think we're going to see crappy animation with just about anything anymore. It's going to be really rare to see really bad animation.
Better not.
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason not to. The main character, Dak, kind of young Han Solo-ish is a good way to kind of describe him. Like, and I think the way you said it, witty enough to just push things just enough to the edge and get people to follow him. I think it's kind of what they're going for. Realistically, like you were saying before, there's nothing about this as Star Trek at all, except for the few little things. And if you're not even a Star Trek fan, I wouldn't even thought about the prison planet. I didn't think about that as a Star Trek thing because I didn't know that was a Star Trek thing. The first thing I saw was the communicator, and then of course the shape of the ship. So what it looks like to me, from what I see from this episode, is there's the main guy who runs the prison. Okay, and he is there looking for this ship. Correct?
Yeah.
They find this ship, and from what I'm understanding, I guess, did the Federation just leave ships in random places for people to find and like pristine condition? Like,
I am willing to bet this ship has some sort of history, and that's what they're going to hold. That's going to be the season 1, season 2 protagonist, right?
Okay.
And because I don't know what the red stuff is, all the gems and diamonds and everything else
they were mining,
right?
Yeah,
but clearly, what they were trying to do was get to the ship. And that's what the girl's father, the man who's heading the slave planet, is all about. But man, let's talk about his droid, his number 2 that's not his daughter, because that thing went straight on from like, I follow the rules, to like a deadly assassin. Actually, the only thing that I could probably relate it to was like a straight up General Grievous style, just like I mean, he went sick. He straight up like formed a weapon out of his hands, and I'm like,
and it was badass.
You could do this at all times,
and you're just now doing it.
Why wouldn't you?
Escalation of force, man. Escalate.
Yeah,
don't have to pull it out. Don't do it. They can only afford the animations of that scene that one time. No, I agree with you. It always blows my mind when characters have powers like that and they don't use them a lot. But it was badass to see. It was a badass gun he pulled out of his hand. Yeah, you're right. It was very General Grievous like. Once again, there's only so many things you can do with these stories. I mean, it's still original. But you're going to see similarities whenever you have any of this stuff. I mean, we're going to see similarities with Dune, with Star Wars and Star Trek, I'm sure, throughout all this stuff. So it's just the way it is. But yeah, it was a good character to compare it to. I'm trying to think. I want to know more about the main bad guy, because he was the guy at the very end. That's the father of the girl, who I'm assuming is going to end up being good. They kidnapped her, and she doesn't look like she's a good guy right now, but I'm assuming she's going to end up being good. He was the one at the very end that said, "Get my ship," right? So now he's going to leave. Yeah, so
he doesn't look like he can leave.
Yeah, he looks like he's kind of Darth Vader out of the suit.
Yep.
Type deal. But he said, "Get my ship." He's the big bad, I'm assuming, for this season. Is what they kind of set up for. At least
Which
right now, I guess.
I will tell you, felt appropriate. It did not feel like they were overplaying their hand.
Mm-hmm.
If this is season 1, then I mean, like, this is your Rita Repulsa. Like,
Right.
this is your character that, like, this is big and bad enough for season 1 to be a problem.
Yeah.
And then you can build, which is fantastic because I am all about the proper stepping stones.
Mm-hmm.
Let's work towards
No, I
Flash's
can believe
golden
it.
boots. Like, let's
Yes.
get there.
Yes.
Give me all the necessary steps. If I don't want to jump and know anything else about what you have planned for season 3, 4, 5, blah blah blah. I want season 1, and that felt appropriate. It felt like what they were going to do was say, hey, this guy wanted this ship. He knew something about it. And then I think that where they're going to leave this season is him not getting this ship and them learning maybe like a tenth of what they need to know about this ship.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe
Which
towards the end,
feels
bringing in the
appropriate.
Federation. Yeah. Because I wonder if they're going to bring in any of the Federation with any of this stuff. Like, I would look at it as a season of the season being about them escaping him. And then at the end of the season, meeting the Federation, figuring out. Because you're right. It's not anything they should go on missions without. And they even said that whenever they got out. He's like, all right, where to? And he's like, well,
there.
Yeah. Didn't really think this through. It's kind of Guardians of the Galaxy style. Like, we don't really have anything to do. So, but they set it up really well. Good first 2 episodes, I guess. In the number count, are they going to consider that episode 1 and 2? In the number count of episodes, you think?
It's part 1 and 2, so I don't know. I don't know if that's really going to hold a whole lot of weight in this.
Right. And I'm assuming they're going to, like you said, this was a 46-minute episode. I'm assuming with the regular one, it's going to be like 22, 23-minute episodes. So that'll make sense.
Which is okay. I mean, it feels right for like probably what they're trying to achieve.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing with, what's it called? Lower Decks is 23-minute episodes, and it works perfect. Good enough to tell a quick little story and get me out of there. So,
but I will tell you, only because we're on a show that starts with the word star, don't skimp on Star Wars Rebels because it is a good show. And I don't want to tell you to take anything away from this one, but you can plow through episodes. And I mean, like, we're going to get a whole lot of Star Wars coming up soon.
No.
And that's probably something that you want to check out.
Yeah. Well, I did watch the first episode of Rebels a few months back, and I just never got into the rest of it. So I want to, really want to. But yeah, I will. You're right. Big Star Wars stuff is coming up. It's always towards the end of the year. Big Star Wars stuff comes up. So yeah, I'm ready, man. Yeah, back to the Star Trek, the Prodigy, man. Really, really enjoying the show. Didn't go into it with any expectations. Don't have any expectations moving forward, but I do like where they're going, or I do like what I've seen so far, and I will continue to watch the next episode. Especially, like I said, they're 20-minute episodes. Easy to knock out.
Watch them with your kids, man.
Yeah,
like dive in, because last week you were saying that you didn't think this show was going to be for you after a couple of weeks of wanting to jump on it, and I understand thinking and not thinking, because I knew what this show was going to try to be,
right.
And I was wondering with your interest in it, like it's a very easy in, and it may help you understand certain things versus like watching multiple seasons of like all these other shows that exist.
Right.
So it's if nothing else, we can let a couple episodes build and come back, and if we figure out how long the actual season is going to be, we can revisit it halfway through and check and see what's going on with it. It's not like I would say that you probably want to watch Discovery. Discovery is a good show. And if you want to spend your time watching something, Discovery may be it.
Okay.
But what you're going to come back to, I keep revisiting this moment where Sarah basically said, like, she doesn't know what to watch, but, like, I kept on saying, like, we're about to get flooded
Mm-hmm.
with content. And I feel like half the time I want to start this show off by saying, hi, my name is Ross. I am a content addict. And,
Yeah.
And go from there, because we're getting it. I mean, all over every last appendage. And by the time we turn around and finish something, we're on to something else, which is fantastic. We live in the heyday. Like, this is the best time, like, for streaming. Turn around, we're gonna get an MCU show, we're gonna get a Star Trek show, we're gonna turn around, we get another Star Wars show. I mean, like, we are just piggybacking one off the other. And to take Prodigy and make it like a prime example of a show to talk about, I'm full and on board with. But kiddo, you got a slate.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know.
And that slate is full.
Yeah, it's always full, man. There's always so much stuff going on. And what's funny is, like, I gotta watch some things, and I've just got to start looking at some things and watch the first little bit and see if I like it enough to continue. But the problem with that is I've watched so many things where I didn't like the first 3 or 4 episodes, and then it picked up and I started to like it. So it's like, well, I don't want to give up on something so quickly. But you do raise a good point. Once this first season's over, you could probably binge this whole first season in 3 hours. I'd be willing to bet 3-4 hours. Okay. With Discovery, I've got a lot of catching up to do on Discovery. Hour-long episodes. They're already through 3 seasons, right? So they're about to start season 4, is it? Yeah, I got a lot of catching up to do. And that is a great show. I got accidentally hooked on that show the first episode and just like, man, this is fucking amazing. And it was so amazing that I haven't gone back to watch it again yet. But no, just time-wise, yeah. It's really, really interesting. I want to check it out, and hopefully it's something that I'm going to be able to catch up on to be able to watch the new season when it comes out and go over on here. Because there's a lot of stuff, man. Like you said, it's endless content. And even on this show, when we first started this, man, we started this show with Endgame. Or no, not Endgame.
No.
Infinity War.
Endgame and...
No, it wasn't.
Endgame. You guys started with Endgame.
It was Endgame. That's right, because I was underwhelmed with Endgame the first time I saw it.
Endgame and Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, and we haven't run out of content, even through COVID, of stuff to cover. Because the thing was, even when we were low on content, there's 100 years of stuff that came out for us that we can talk about. So content will never be short. Even if there's nothing new coming out, which hopefully will never happen, there's always a ton of stuff to watch and talk about, and we're here to do it. Good stuff, man. Well, is there anything else you want to say about Prodigy? I'd highly recommend it. I'm going to see if my daughters want to watch it together. If you're a Star Trek fan, even if you're not a Star Trek fan, like I said, this didn't get any Star Trek vibes to me at all. Minus the community.
It's a good shoe-in.
Yeah.
It's a good shoe-in.
I agree.
If you don't need the history, because, I mean, I will say right now, like, Star Trek has a really good history. I mean, it's all reachable and connectable. And I mean, Star Trek has always been the sleeper in my category. If there's something that, like, I've watched and I've enjoyed, there are tons of things that I bring up before Star Trek, but man, Star Trek is always there.
Yeah.
And this is a real good way. I think this is a fantastic way to do what years of Star Wars animation has done, but even then you kind of needed the foreknowledge. Here I think they're kind of providing the foreknowledge for you,
right?
And it's a great thing.
Yeah. Well, even with the Star Wars animation was tied directly into main storylines in the OG Star Wars universe, whereas it doesn't seem like, I haven't seen it yet, it doesn't seem like this is. It seems like this one's in the universe, but it's a totally different story. Don't even nothing about it. Just go in and enjoy it. So, which is really, really cool. Like, I don't think I've seen a Star Wars show that's like that. I mean, you could do that with Star Wars. They've built a big enough universe where you definitely could. I just don't think I've seen anything like that. There's always some kind of way it ties into the Skywalker saga. Always somehow.
And it's been their best horrible drawback.
I agree because there's so many more stories I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, dude, that's all we had on the slate for tonight. Got some shows ending next week. Got some shows getting closer to ending next week. And after next week, we'll be into November, rather getting closer to some really good stuff. I'm really excited about Shang-Chi. I'm really excited about the Matrix movie coming out, man. There's so much good stuff coming out in the future. It's going to be really, really fun. Masters of the Universe, Cowboy Bebop. Like, you're right, dude. We live in a great time to absorb content. I'm glad I'm not a kid in this time, because I would have never got kid stuff done whenever, I was a kid. Now I don't have to get kid stuff done. I'm an adult. So this is my kid stuff. All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and get out of here then. I got to get up. Speaking of adult, in like 5 hours, I got to be able to work. Ross,
we're half our time from last week.
There you go. Ross, they can't find you anywhere unless they talk to me, right? To get a hold of you?
That is correct.
If you've got a question for him, just hit me up and I will ask him the question and see if we can get an answer maybe on the show. We'll see what's up. You can find me at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter. It's my personal handle, or check out at SCS Podcast 1 on Twitter. It's the only two forms of social media. It's really the only way to get a hold of me. If you got any questions, you want to hop on the show and talk about something, or you just want to, shoot the shit and be a friend, I'm there. Check it out. But for those of you still listening, I appreciate it. Share with a friend, like, subscribe, all that good stuff you're supposed to say whenever you're broadcasting the stuff that everybody says at the end. So till next week, y'all keep pounding.
Later.